So I'm actually not much of a theist, like alternate Tuesdays, because that's not really part of how I function, but I'm very much interested to what I don't know.
Hello, listeners. I'm Jean Kelly, the host of Read, Pray, Write, and I'm taping today at the Wildgoose Festival in Hartford, North Carolina. Great place to have this, alongside Dr. Amy-Jill Levine. And welcome,
Thank you very much.
It's so great to have you here. You know, this is a gathering of Christian creatives of all denominations and just faith people of all denominations, backgrounds, and confessions, and orientation, where everyone's welcome and all around. And how do you find or recognize or stay open to grace in your life in order to go deeper? And I understand grace is very much a Christian idea, and I wanted to know what maybe the equivalent to that would be for you, and how do you stay open to that or find it or recognize it?
Yeah. So I'm actually not much of a theist, like alternate Tuesdays, because that's not really part of how I function, but I'm very much interested to what I don't know, and then finding that mystery, or in another way to put it, finding surprise. And then when I find surprise, I'm like, wow, look at that. Whether it's the groundhog I saw yesterday in my backyard, who I hadn't seen since last year and thought he was dead. And there's Chuck the groundhog out. It's fabulous. Or sometimes meeting new people, and it turns out that we share commonalities and common interests. And you think, like, I just met a friend who I should have known for years and years, but now there's someone else who somehow gets me, or I might get him or her or them. I don't think of myself so much, because the question was hard for me, like, how do I go deeper in me? I'm not terribly interested in me. Like, I live with me, but I am interested in going deeper with my friends, or with my partner, or with my children. Like, why do you think that?
Relationships.
Yeah. Why do you think that? Or have you considered this with children? Have you considered this? Because God forbid you would tell them to do something, but, might you consider something? Or with my friends, when they say to me something that totally surprises me, it's where did that come from? So I'm actually much more interested in the depth that I can find from my friends, because if I want to claim to love my neighbor as myself, then I need to know something about that neighbor. Otherwise, it's just an abstract claim that kind of goes nowhere.
Is there anything like grace in Jewish tradition?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I just haven't
don't know the word, like they don't call it.
Oh, it's the theme. It's the root of the name.
Okay.
There's a sense of Chesed, of loving kindness that has to be reciprocal. You can't be loving. You can do loving kindness to yourself, but the idea is you show loving kindness to others the way God shows loving kindness to us. That's why. Christians generally tend to think more about, as in my experience, more about theology, more about the Christ, more about the Spirit. And Jews tend to think very practically, like, how do I do this? Or what should I be doing at this moment?
Right.
So it's a different sort of life orientation.
But that living in the moment, I think, is something that we all can benefit from a little bit. That practicality is really,
but at the same time, memories is extremely important. So you don't forget, you remember, you let the past guide you, and you realize that there's also a tomorrow. And so what you messed up with today, you can probably fix. There's an old rabbinic saying, because there's an old rabbinic saying for everything: repent one day before you die. And I think that makes a huge amount of sense.
Just one day, not any sooner than
one day before you die. So if you're about to go to bed and you do your retrospective on the day, and you realize you should have made a phone call, or you realized you left the toilet seat up. I mean, whatever it is that you should have done that you didn't do, or that you did that you needed to fix, you get out of bed and you fix it.
Well, is there anything you would like to add, just related to our themes, any of them?
I'm interested in promoting a Jesus who is an ethical teacher and an inspiration and a guide, without having to make Judaism look bad in order to make him look good. And I'm so tired of easy anti-Semitism, because in the sermon, it's easier to make Judaism look bad than it is to tell people what they ought to be doing, right? So the message is, well, thank God we're not like those Jews. And the other area where I work is in questions of gender and sexuality, and I'm tired of the Bible being used as a sledgehammer to beat down people who aren't in some sort of heteronormative model. So the work that I do is primarily dedicated to stopping the Bible from being a rock thrown to do damage. And if I could be of any help to any of our listeners or viewers, I would be happy to do that, because I think that's why I got put on the earth.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I love that mission. Well, as I want to thank our amazing guest, Dr. AJ Levine, for being here in the hot, in the technology complicated situation of doing a field recording. And so thank you so much. I hope that all the Read, Pray, Write listeners will find the pace, space, and grace they need to go deeper by listening to this and other podcast episodes at www.readprayandwrite.com, subscribing to our newsletter, Grace Lines, also available on the podcast website, and sharing the wisdom you find in your own spiritual reading, but also in what we talked about today. So with that, I would like to pass along all blessings. I am Jean and Helly.